Doing, everybody? Thanks for stopping by and joining us today for Rolling Over the Hill on the Lift to Roll channel. And thank you for all being part of our Lift to Roll family. Also, I'd like to thank our sponsors, mobility professionals and urology professionals. They're a great and helpful group of experts and very much part of our community and help make all this happen here at Lift to Roll. So a big thanks to them. On today's show, we have a special guest, Dominic Taitano. He is a friend to us all here, and we'll be discussing his life as an active ventilator quad. Please make sure to include your questions, comments, and views in the chat. Hello, everyone. My name is Robert Soto. I'm a T12 spinal cord injury from a motorcycle racing accident almost 50 years ago. And now let's get started. We have Bobby that will probably be joining us a little later in the show. Let me hand it off to Luis. What's up?
Hey, everybody. Good to see everybody. My name's Luis. I have been injured for 43 years. I was injured in an industrial accident on an oil rig. I'm an L3, L4, incomplete, and I'm a SCI walker and roller. So I do both. Um, really excited to have Dominic here again. Dominic's been a great guest, and we're glad to have him back here and talking about his life and his situation. Before we get started, I want to mention real quickly our sponsors, mobility professionals and urology professionals. Great sources for product and information, excellent for our community. They provide the best in care and information and take most insurances. Mobility professionals locally here in California, urology professionals nationwide. So back to you, Robert.
Okay, so Dominic has been part of my involvement in this with the community. I met him along with a lot of others, just like Luis and everything, about 7, 8 years ago. And Dominic has had some great stories of places he visits, especially one of my favorite places is Disneyland. So I usually get the updates on what's going on there. But Dominic, just to introduce you to our audience, can you give a little story, your background and kind of the situation, how you got in this situation?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm a C3, C4 event dependent quad from an ATC accident, and it will be 38 years
Uh-huh.
tomorrow.
Oh,
Yeah, so I was thinking this morning, if someone was to ask me when I first got injured, do you think you'd still be living 38 years from now? I'd probably tell them I would hope so.
yeah,
But
yeah,
to me, that seems like it would have been so long. And God knows what life has in store for me, right? But now I'm like, you know what? I want to do what Robert has achieved. 50 years. I mean, that seems
yeah,
so doable. I mean, it's only 12 years from now and everything like that. I'm not saying that the past 30 years have been easy. I mean, there's been challenges, there's been ups, there's been downs, but there's been more good things to happen than bad, and so to me, there's a lot more a lot more living to do and a lot more things to experience in life,
right on.
and
That's
I
great.
believe if I'm not mistaken, we've all went to Rancho, correct?
Yep, yep.
Rancho
Class of
alumni.
class of
Right,
1974.
Rancho was an amazing place. I was
Yeah,
class of 1988. I mean, that's an amazing place. I mean, so I was there. I was there for 23 months, which is
yeah.
way too long.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
with my high
See,
level,
I'm not
I'm
the
so
only
blessed that
one.
I was there.
Well, I know
Why? How
because
long were you there, Luis?
Luis was there, what, 2 years or something like that?
2 years, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, you were. So
Inpatient.
you're as
I
long
was
as
there
me.
six
Oh,
months.
wow.
6 months for me.
Yeah, yeah, crazy, right? But I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would imagine, trying to get out now, everybody's trying to get out within 4 to 6, months. And not even that, 4 to 6 weeks
no,
sometimes.
four to six
I mean,
Yeah.
weeks
I
is
would
what
have
it.
been a wreck, you know?
Yeah,
I would have
insurance,
definitely been a wreck.
insurance, insurance doesn't let you stay too long in the hospital nowadays. Everything, all the
Right.
therapy and everything is done outpatient. But so yeah, we're all alumni of Rancho Los Amigos. So
Right.
what what were you doing? What was your injury?
It was ATC, three
I
wheeler,
know three wheeler.
Oh, in Poway. So, back
Okay,
roads of Poway,
yeah,
So back when I had my accident there, the road that's now there wasn't there before. It was all trails, and everything like that. So yeah, it was pretty amazing, to see the transformation, from dirt road to now a paved road and everything. But yeah, this went out. So we actually celebrated my birthday, and I got the to see that day and everything. And went out for one more ride and
Yeah, it's
didn't
that.
make the turn and didn't come back. And so
And
I was out there so long that people came searching for me, and I would see the lights, of the cars because it was dark, and people yell my name, but of course I couldn't yell back,
Oh man.
So yeah, trust me, it was scary. And then once my uncle found me, he says, "Hey, don't move," and of course I blacked out. I don't remember everything until the next morning. But my mom had told me that I had been talking to her throughout the whole night, telling her everything's gonna be okay, everything's all gonna be all right. Little did I know, right?
So what hospital were
So
you
yeah,
in
but it's good.
initially?
So I went to UCSD, and then I went to Kaiser, because of my mom's insurance, and then I transferred up to Rancho. So like 3 months later, So yeah, but I mean it was a
So,
blessing, definitely a blessing because I have sharp rehab down here in San Diego, and they were taking ventilator patients, but everybody told me Rancho's is the best, and I'm so glad I did. I
Yeah.
mean I still stay in touch
Yeah.
with some of my stay in touch with one of my doctors, one of my respiratory therapists, one of my OTs, one of my nurses. I
Oh,
mean
that's cool.
it's pretty incredible. 38 years. I mean we have a relationship which is pretty incredible. I mean
Yeah.
Rancho, they were my family.
Yeah, definitely.
I
I mean,
call it home.
yeah,
Yes, I agree.
yeah.
So yes, have you
It's come
been back
such a long way.
since? Exactly.
I go
I've been
back
there to visit.
regularly.
Yeah, I was there doing volunteer work with No Barriers, and it's
Okay.
really amazing what they're doing to it now. I mean, it's nothing like what it was when I was there back in the days when there were the bungalows, the wards, and all that stuff. 6 in a room.
Seriously. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, you're right.
yeah,
6 in a room, and so I was on the 900 unit, the ward. With the
yeah.
kids. Even though I was
How old
16 and
were you at the
17.
time?
At 17.
It's still
17.
pedes, huh?
Yeah,
You
but
Seventeen
know,
I
still
mean I'm
peds.
900
glad.
hasn't been rebuilt yet.
Okay. So
See,
yeah,
but
but I'm glad I
No.
went there.
Robert and I were on the other side of the campus over in the
Okay.
700 building.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. I mean, I would go visit there, and I'm like, ooh wee, I'm glad I'm not over here. That was a
Yeah,
rough place. It was
yeah,
pretty
yeah.
darn
Well,
rough.
We,
I'm like,
it,
take me back.
it, when I was there,
Dominic, we used to call Rancho the scared straight of rehab.
There you go.
well, I know when I was there in '74, it was old even back then. So I mean, it's got quite a history, Rancho Los Amigos, and I really did have a good program there for me in terms of my recovery, and
Hmm.
we're here to talk about it. But again, 50 years, like when I first got hurt, I didn't even think about the future. I mean, how long I was going to be,
No,
how life was
no,
going to be for me. I really didn't think that. I don't know right or wrong, but um, right now I'm just experiencing, the aging piece. What about you, Dominic? I
right.
know 38 years
Yeah, I
plus
mean,
just to be on the ventilator as well.
yeah, exactly. I think that might be the difference. I mean, people would tell me, "Wow, you survived this long being on a vent." And I'm like, you know what? I do my best. I stay healthy and all that. But yeah, I mean, back in the day, I would never think about the future. I live. So my motto is to live life day by day.
Yeah,
Life
Yeah.
is,
good
life
motto.
is too
Good
short.
motto.
Life is too short. And every day is a blessing from God. That's how I feel. And so I take advantage, what he's given me and everything. So yeah, future is it's far away from me sometimes.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
Dominic,
yeah,
I do make plans. I make plans, but I still take it day by day.
yeah,
I was
yeah.
going to ask Dominic, both Robert and I, when we were at Rancho, they gave us our life expectancy. In 88, did they do that for you? Did they tell you what your life expectancy might be?
Um, and well, they did, but maybe not in so many words.
Mhm.
I think they had mentioned quads on vents, maybe 10 years, 15,
Exactly.
so but I mean everybody's different, you know.
So
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
blown right past that now.
yeah, yeah. Really.
I'm fortunate, I am fortunate, that I've lasted this long, but I mean, like I said, I take good care of myself, I have good care, good help, so I mean,
Yeah.
we all work together,
Yeah.
so yeah,
It's a team.
Good.
you know,
Yeah.
it is a
And
team. It's a team, it's a
attitude.
family effort, it's all the above. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
Yeah. I
you
mean,
got a
yeah,
good.
staying positive,
Yeah. Yeah. You got a good
you know,
attitude too, Dominic. That's what's always kind of drawn me to you, just the positive and how active you are. I mean, we got some pictures of you going for a ride in the Corvette, whatever it was you getting in there and stuff. I was,
Yeah.
right? My brother's Corvette. I know.
yeah.
Well, so so I try to stay active. I try to stay as busy as possible. Because my
Yeah.
thinking is, my thinking is, I didn't get injured in the library, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get
Yeah.
into the library. I mean, we're all doing some kind of thrilling activity, right? I mean, we're all doing
Yeah.
something. That's how
Yeah.
we got injured. So I mean, why should life change? I mean, granted, if we're not healthy, but if I'm healthy, I definitely want to do something. So that's why
Yeah.
I try to stay active as possible.
Yeah.
Dominic, I'm sorry I'm late,
Yes.
and hey guys, sorry I'm late.
Hey, buddy.
What
No worries, man.
you since I've been on, you use that word healthy a lot, and I was dealing with some health issues this week with low sodium. But how do you keep
Mhm.
healthy? With someone as a ventilator, quad, limited functions, with sometimes taking your own medication, or how do you treat your body to stay healthy for so long?
So right. So I have a regular routine, daily routine that I do, and I pretty much follow the schedule. I do 4 breathing treatments a day, whether I'm sick or not. So that's just being proactive and everything. And then I do every morning I do my protein shakes. Just for my skin integrity. And then there's times if I'm not doing anything that I'll be resting in bed. Just because I have no plans, but yet I know the next couple of days I have some kind of activity. So hey, so I just try to stay on top of things. And if someone tells me, or if a nurse tells me, or someone tells me, hey, your skin's a little red, or if something's flaring up, then I'm in bed. I mean, last year I was in bed for a whole month. I mean, yes, a month doesn't sound long, but it's hard. When I stay busy and everything like that. But it was definitely worth it because now the issue's gone. It was a skin issue, and so it just works out. Because I mean, I had a pressure sore back in '98 for 2 years.
Oh,
And
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
went down to the bone. You know,
yeah.
I I actually did a skin flap. And so and that didn't even work. Which is scary.
Yeah.
And so I mean, once your skin breaks down, you're always susceptible. It's never the
Yeah.
same. So I just try to just try to do my best. That's all I could do.
And it happens
Do
to all
you
of us. Myself, a number of years ago, I had a MRSA infection in my right leg. It put me in bed for 3 or 4 months. And everyone's like, "But you're a
Hmm.
walking para," and it's like, no, there's certain things that
Yeah,
can
yeah,
happen to us when I don't have a choice. I have to be in the bed. You know. So kudos
right,
for
exactly.
you
Yeah, I mean,
dealing with that and taking care of it, because 2 years is a long time to deal with the pressure sore.
trust me, it was awful. Trust me. And back then there was no streaming. So I mean, I'm watching sports, I'm watching whatever. I mean, listen to books on tape. Yeah, I mean, it was no fun. The only time I got up was for doctor's appointment, wound care appointments. But other than that, it's
Yeah.
like what, this is not worth it. So yeah, I mean, so that's why when something flares up or something, I'm like, okay, it's not worth it. I don't care what I have planned. It's not worth it. So
You were talking about health and whatnot. Do you adjust your, not just your routine, but your diet to deal with your skin issues and other issues?
I do. Like I said, I do a protein shake every morning. But then I just try to stay, more proteins, vegetables and everything like that, salads. I mean, granted, I love my carbs, so I have no problem with that. But protein is more important for me. And then drinking a lot of water. I mean, I was told that kidney infections or bladder infections are
Hmm.
the number one cause of death for quads. I mean, that
Yeah.
was way back when. That's what I learned in Rancho. So I mean,
Yeah.
I like to call myself an alcoholic. I'm definitely an alcoholic. I have no problem. I mean, I have nurses tell me or ask me, hey, are you really that thirsty? I'm like, you know what? No, but I know I need to drink, because
Yeah.
sometimes there's times when I'm not drinking, and I'm going to make up for it. Or I try not to,
Yeah.
but,
which,
it is what
which
it
I
is.
just, but I just also found out. I mean, I just got a 20-minute lecture from a doctor saying, you're
Okay.
drinking way too much water just because I'm dealing with low sodium this week. And,
Okay.
it's just like, you got to cut back, man. You're bringing, because I was last week feeling low on energy. And I was wondering, do you ever get low on energy? And we can answer that. But, I just got the lecture of low sodium. So everything, with our health is a balance. And how do with your, being so active, yeah, you kind of watch your skin, but do you ever run out of, kind of just energy? And do you have like nerve pain and, you know, running around, and I don't know if you showed some of the Disney pictures, but definitely you're a big Disney buff. And I know one day for Disney for me, man, I am wiped out, and and that was 10
Right.
years ago when I was a little bit younger, and it still wiped
Yeah.
me out. So,
Yeah.
and I'm sure you got a pass, so it
Yes.
helps that you don't go forever. But tell us about that.
So, so low energy, I'd probably say no, unless I don't sleep well the night before, But I mean, if I know I have a big day the next day, then, the day prior, I'm resting in bed, I just do it, And so then my days, at Disneyland, I'm there, maybe I get there at 9, maybe leave around 6, 7, So I mean, it's a long day, but it's not too long. But I don't know. I don't know if the ventilator helps. Gives me extra energy or something. I have no idea, man. But luckily, the only time I do have energy, not too much energy, is if I'm uncomfortable in my chair. If I'm uncomfortable in my chair, I'm good to go. And so
Yeah.
that's why it's just I don't know. It's enjoyable.
So
It's
you're
just
like a
it's really
football
nice that
player using that oxygen.
Yeah.
if you want to say
Fresh,
that, right?
fresh
It's that
oxygen, clean
artificial air or
oxygen.
something, right? Yeah, exactly, right. They're feeding something into me, right? And I have no oxygen, and I'm all on room air. It's just the
So
vent. So
so being smart, you're prepping yourself for what's coming up. On the backside of that, how are your recovery days, or do you really need a recovery day unless it's like
um,
12 hours at Disneyland?
right, right. So if I know that I'm not doing something the next day, I'll rest. But if I have something scheduled, then I'll get up. But I mean,
Mhm.
now that I am older, I'm not getting up every day. I probably get up maybe 4 days in a row. Then rest one day.
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, I mean, I just plan my schedule, which is nice. I mean, I like when I listen to you, Robert. Some days you do nothing, and sometimes,
That's
resting
it,
in
man.
bed is kind of nice, actually. I
I
mean,
do.
but it's surprisingly, when I rest 2 days in a row, I'm not rested. I'm like, this wasn't restful. It's ridiculous. I'm like, this is bad, right? I'm like, heck, I
Yeah.
should have got
Yeah,
up the second day.
it's like like I said, there's a balance. There's too much rest and not enough rest. So you have to balance out that rest too. So maybe, yeah, 2 days might be where by the third day you get up and you're like, why am I exhausted? It's because you weren't moving.
Well,
And I
Right,
and I have,
right.
yeah,
I,
movement is key and everything.
yeah. I know for me, the thing that I struggle a lot with now is just not. I mean, I've always been able to operate on 3, 4 hours sleep when I was working and stuff like that.
Okay.
But so nowadays, I'll fall asleep kind of early, maybe sometimes like 9 o'clock, sleep for a couple hours, 2, 3 hours, and then I'm wide awake. So then I'm up for, a few hours and I start watching the news or TV or whatever. And then I'll fall asleep for a little bit, but I just don't get a really good sleep. And I think that's kind
Okay.
of a big impact on I mean, I do like doing nothing, but there's lots of times when I have something I have to do in the morning. And here I am, I don't, my energy levels are low. So I'm really glad to hear that you do have your a regimen for you to, when you do sleep enough and you feel better because I know I feel a lot better when I get a good sleep. It's
Right.
nice waking up feeling all energized and stuff. But so
Seriously.
is that pretty consistent with you? You get a good night's sleep all the time, or for the most part?
So I mean, hey, you can imagine, I wake up. I mean, I probably get maybe 5 hours total through the night. I'd say I go to bed at 10. I wake up at
Yeah.
12:30, 1 o'clock. And then I'm turning. And then I wake up. Like around 5. So I
Yeah.
mean, my sleep
Yeah.
is broken. But I've been doing
Yeah.
it for 38 years that my body's so used to it
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
That's just the regular routine for me. So yeah, I mean, it's not good sleep. But I'm used to it. You know,
Yeah.
so yeah,
Your body knows how to function on it.
right, exactly, exactly.
Being at the disadvantage of coming in late, talk about managing your own care. How does that work for you? And give us a little bit of tidbits of how you manage your own care without the use of your upper body.
Right. So I have a good staff, good team. I've had one guy with me almost 8, 9 years, and then everybody else. Okay, so I know my care better than anybody else. I definitely know, and I know what works for me and what's not going to work for me, and so I'm able to explain it. And if someone's willing to learn and listen, then I mean we're going to make this situation happen well. I mean it's definitely a good thing. So just talking to people and just communicating really really helps a lot. I mean, and the people, because they're part of my family. I'm there with me 8 hours a day, and everything. And so, yes, it's important that I get along with them. That's more important to me because I've had a couple caregivers that had no medical knowledge at all, right? No medical knowledge. But yet, if they're willing to learn, I'm willing to teach them, and so it works out well. So me getting along with them is more important than the medical knowledge, and so it just works out, that it's a team, and I've stayed in touch with so many people. That have been caregivers. I mean, my one caregiver, my very first caregiver, actually. I still stay in touch with them. And that's 37 years now, 38. 30 whatever. Yeah, it's pretty incredible, actually. So yeah, I mean, it's just I just know my care. It just helps. It really does help that people are willing, to help me. And of course, the best caregiver, is my mom. Which is pretty awesome. So she's willing to help out. And teach people also. Because I can only explain so much, but if you see it firsthand, it helps a lot. It
Yeah,
really does help a
definitely,
lot.
Yeah,
definitely.
I
Right.
so I have another question. So when you're, because I know you're pretty active, how does it work with the ventilator when you're going to go someplace or going to go on a trip or if you fly on a plane or so what are the what's the routine there?
Right. So that's Walt Disney World, which was awesome.
Cool.
We went for my 50th birthday, right? There's 17 of us. We were there for a week.
Right on.
So being on an event, so yes, I explained that I was, or I said I was vent dependent, but honestly, I'm really not. I mean, I can be off the machine. So I'm off every morning for like 3 hours, for my morning care, and so, which gives me, the comfort, that I'm not so dependent on the ventilator,
Mhm. Oh yeah, yeah.
because if I was totally dependent on it, I'd probably limit, my adventures and everything, which would be sad, But I mean, being able to breathe off the machine is a good thing, and so I plan for things, so I have an extra vent that I bring along with me that I travel just in case something happens to the one that's on my chair, you know. But being able to breathe out the machine is awesome. So I mean, when I was at Rancho, they asked me to build up my tolerance, and so I did. Right, so I was off like 8 to 10 hours a day, right, which is awesome, right. But the bad thing is, I was burning up too many calories, and I don't eat enough, so I'm losing weight, and so the doctor's like, okay, dude, either you need to eat more, or we got to figure out something, right? I'm like, okay, well, heck, but I'm thinking to myself, well, hey, you know what? This is like an awesome, like a great diet plan. All you gotta do is breathe and you lose weight, right? All you gotta do is breathe and lose weight.
Agree.
Like, what the heck, right?
I wish it was that easy, Dominic.
I would just, that's what I
I
need.
know. Well, it's easy. Well, that's my routine, man. I'm sorry. I guess the
No.
ventilator does. That ventilator is a plus in some ways, right? So who knows? But
Got to
yeah,
be some
Well, and
advantages.
right.
some people ask you, do you ever work out? Yeah, I just take off the ventilator, and that's a workout.
Exactly, right.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a workout. Right. Well, so I only have half a diaphragm, okay? So every breath I take, I have to think about it. If I don't think about it, I'm not breathing, you know? So I actually have to think about every breath I take, and so it's so automatic for me now that when I think about it, I breathe. But there's times like if I'm going to bed or something like that, and I'm really really tired, exhausted, I'm not breathing, and I wake up and I'm like, say I'm out for like a minute or something. I don't know. It could be 30 seconds. I'm like gasping for air, because I
So,
haven't breathed at that
so,
time.
so Dominic, basically, you're scuba diving without the water.
You are correct. Right. Yeah, no. Okay. Yes, that
Do
is
you
a good
ever
way to put it.
do you ever get into a panic situation in any sense, even being on the ventilator or not? Do you ever get into that
Um,
situation?
Only time I
Like
do
probably
is like say,
when you have a cold or something like
yeah, say exactly. So if I have a respiratory infection, I try not to be off the machine too much because then it actually takes more effort, and it's actually harder for me to breathe. So then I'm actually doing more breathing treatments, and then I'm also, just staying on the vent longer, because then I can't. It's harder for me to, take the breaths. So yeah, that's the only time. So that's the only time it's really scary, And so like if I'm out, and I know my chest is, not feeling the greatest and all that. So, just I tried to take a little more precaution, you know.
that's great. That's great.
Yeah. So I was gonna mention, so like wheelchairs have changed over the years, right? From way
Yeah.
back when. Well, so have ventilators. Ventilators have changed also. The very first one I was on was a PLV 100. It was like the size of a large toaster oven, and probably weighed like 60 pounds. It was so big, right? But yet all it had was knobs and dials. It's so simple, and so I was probably on that for maybe 25 plus years, and then my respiratory therapist at home said, hey, you're going to need to transition to a new ventilator because they're not servicing these ones anymore. They're not making them anymore, and all that stuff. And so it was a process. I tried a couple out, and then some worked, some don't because my volume is really, really big, compared to other people. And so some machines can handle it, so it's uncomfortable. And so luckily the one that I'm on now, the Astro 150, handles my volume, and makes me comfortable. And it's the size of a small lunchbox, And so as you can imagine, the big ventilator that I had forever just made my chair even longer. My chair's already long, So now with the smaller vent, it makes it much better, and I'm able to go on Disneyland rides, and others tight corners and everything else like that, which sometimes it's a priority,
Yeah.
Question for you, Dominic. I I've met you a couple of times in person, but I don't remember. How is your hand function? Do you do you have some hand function, some arm function, or do you use
None at
mouth
all.
tools for a lot of things?
I use a mouse stick. That's all I use. And so that's what I use getting through college and all that. So the mouse stick, I've become so efficient with it. That I can type like almost 30 to 35 words a minute with one mouse stick. So
That's
yeah,
pretty good.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
I
Well,
think
so
that's
my neck
faster
is,
than my one little
so
stroke here too.
right. So, but my neck is pretty darn strong. Holding that mouse stick and everything. So I'm able to type pretty darn fast, which is nice. So
Did you
yes.
ever get
So I
into painting with the mouse stick or anything like that?
so I know I have no skills, no artistic skills. So I have no interest. So I'm not even gonna venture there, man. Right? I'd be drawing stick figures and all that stuff. So no, I wouldn't even
I'm
bother. I wouldn't even bother.
How about
I'm right
some of
with
the technology?
So yes, so I actually just tried out Glass House. The one that Daryl uses and everything.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
glasses that move the mouse, the cursor and the mouse on the screen and all that. Well, so since my neck function or my neck mobility isn't that great, it was hard for me to reach certain corners of the screen. And so and I also had to use the bite stick, to activate
Hmm.
the mouse and all that kind of stuff. And so, yes, it was nice, it was convenient, but it wasn't for me, because it took
Yeah.
longer to type something with the glass house as opposed to using my mouse stick.
Yeah.
But
More
I was glad I
functional
was
with them.
able, right? I
Just
was
more
able to use
functionality
and
with
have
the,
the opportunity.
yeah, just more
And
functionality then, right?
I guess I
Right,
forgot, with the glasses, it's not about eye movement, it's about head movement.
right, right. That's
Yeah.
what it was. Even if I like tilted myself back more, tried to, it still was a bad thing, still didn't work. I was surprised because, I told the OT who was working with me, I said, you know what, my neck actually hurts more using the little glasses than opposed to using this mouse stick, where I'm tapping
Yeah.
away like a crazy person, I'm like, this is crazy. And she goes, well, of course you're using muscles that you're not used to or not using, or ever used
Yeah.
before. I'm like, yeah, you're right. So yeah, it was just interesting. So yeah.
Yeah. I have a friend in Arizona who's been also in, he uses his mouse stick all the time on it. He's on his cell phone constantly. And then
Yeah.
he's constantly on his computer. He's uh, constantly on Twitter with his uh, the stuff he does for the nonprofits out there in Arizona.
Mm.
And just recently, he's complaining about a lot of jaw problems. With I don't know, are you, you think about it. That's we think about for us, Luis and Robert, our shoulders and our elbows and our arms. We're constantly moving.
Hmm.
You got your mouth, and you're sitting there typing 35 words a minute using that jaw. Does that tend to get tired? Have you ever noticed anything over the years? Or you just like
so
you're like you're like a hockey player, like like glass jaw.
uh
You're not a glass jaw.
right. Seriously. Right. Well, so surprisingly, I do not have, my jaw is not sore. I think I've done it so long, that, yeah, I have no issues, which is actually a good thing, So, yeah, I'm happy I don't, because then I would be really bummed, if I couldn't use a computer or, my phone or something else like that. So, yeah, it's
So do
pretty
you want?
fortunate, I guess. I don't know.
Can you explain a little bit more about the glasses? Somebody in the chat is asking about. It's called Glass
Yeah, no, I
House.
see Nathan had mentioned. Yeah, yeah, it's called
Yeah,
Glass House, with glass and then mouse without the M, and so
now
they're actually glasses, and so on the glasses there's a sensor which you hook it up to your computer, and so then the sensor you turn it on and then it actually like it's kind of like a laser, but it moves the actual mouse on the screen, so then I'm able to move my head around, click on a tab, click on a subject, click on a topic, and then
you
like
have
I said, I
the
have the
clicker.
mouse, the bite stick.
Yeah, so you have a bite stick that you bite
I do,
to
right, right, and so
click.
that's like right click, left click, whatever, because I can hold them bite stick down, and then to scroll, or to highlight things and everything. So yeah, yeah, it's expensive, but like I said, I'm so fortunate to have tried it, because I've always seen Daryl, always have it, so I'm like, well, let
Yeah,
me give it a go, and so Rick Hayden from Spinal Network actually worked it out for me, down here in San Diego, which I was very fortunate.
that's
Well,
great.
that's
And
good that's good that you got to try it out because this way you know for sure what you're doing is the most functional for you.
Right,
You know.
right. No, no, I know. I realized, because I was trying to think of myself, if I do get older, and if my neck function or, even if my jaw, doesn't work well, maybe there's another option, So, I mean, at
Yeah.
least I know. At least I tried it.
Yeah.
and
And
how
In
much?
that
technology.
vein, oh, go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, how much are the glasses for Nathan's sake? And where can you get something like that?
Yes. So I believe you can call the company, but Spinal Network actually has an assistive technology closet. Okay, so if you're interested, you can actually reach out to Rick Hayden, or Claire Uke, I think her name is, through Spinal Network, and they have a closet, and they can probably hook you up, if you're interested. I mean, so so I know Nathan, and so I can definitely refer him to Rick, and I'll talk to Rick,
Yeah.
and tell them,
Okay,
hey, I have a
great.
friend, that's interested in doing it, trying it out.
But
So
even
yeah,
it,
because
yeah.
I have a buddy who actually uses the glasses, but he has hand function, so he can use the mouse instead of a bite stick. Which I know Nathan has hand function, so he could probably do the same, which would probably work better for him or something like that. So yeah, I'll definitely reach out.
That's great. That's great.
I was going to
Yeah.
ask, how's your experience with voice assistants and voice control, and do you have any tips or tricks that from your experience?
So way back when in Rancho in '88, Dragon Dictate, probably version one, right? Well, as you can tell, my voice fluctuates. Being on the vent, I'm able to learn how to breathe in between breaths and all that, right? So of course you had to read the story, right? So I read the story, right? The Dragon Dictate had no idea what I was trying to command it to do, because it was so bad. My voice fluctuates, it's no good, right? So I mean, I think they're on version 10 or 15. I don't know what they're on now. So I mean, I can probably try it again, but using the stick is so much easier for me. So I don't know.
Mhm.
I mean, I enjoy
I don't.
the voice activation of the voice controls on my phone. Telling Siri to do such and such for me and everything like that. Or texting people without me actually typing it. Or even like my Alexa. When I ask her to change channels in my room or something like that, or different
Yeah.
commands. So I mean, I like
Well,
those things. I like that assistive technology.
yeah.
But yeah, whether trying to do something through the computer, I don't know.
If it ain't,
I'm old school to
yeah,
me
yeah.
is good
If
school.
it ain't, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
How about
Right.
for
Well,
home
let's see.
control?
So I'm always with somebody, man.
Okay.
So somebody asked me, he's like, "Well, don't you want to control your lights? Don't you want to control your thermostat? Everything else like
Hmm.
that." I said, the only thing I said, yeah, I do, but I have other people around me that can do that. The
Yeah,
only thing that
yeah,
really is convenient with me is actually having her control my TV. So like if there's times I'm in bed, I can still yell at it or ask her, hey, turn TV on. Hey, go to this channel, hey, do something else, turn on music, so that's actually convenient. That's what I'm actually really happy about, the whole light thing, the whole thermostat thing, I don't need that. I mean, I had a house, that was pretty well set up for me, and it was wonderful. I mean, I had an elevator, I had a door that, was kind of activated that I was able to drive in front of a sensor. The door would open, but life is good for me. I have no complaints.
Yeah.
that's good
That's
to hear.
And
awesome.
That's
so
good
like
to
I
hear,
mean
man.
even like the motorhome, the RV that I sent you the picture of.
Yeah,
I mean I went traveling many times, weekends and all that stuff, and you could tell I talked to the company, many times, and so they were able to modify it. They did the side door, with the ramp and everything, and then I sit so tall that I sat in between the two seats, and they lowered the floor so that way I was eye level, with everybody, and then in the back,
yeah.
there was the bed, and that was my bed, and so then I had a ceiling track, that would transfer me with an Electro Hoyer, transfer me out of my chair onto the bed. I
Yeah.
mean, it
We,
was
we we have,
convenient. It was beautiful. It was
yeah.
nice.
We have a
I mean, we
we have
did
a
weekend
video
trips
of
to
you.
Vegas.
Yeah, the good places. Hey, we have
Yeah,
a video of
Vegas,
you. I don't know.
Vegas, San Felipe. So yeah,
Yeah, cool, cool. Hey, we have a video of
yeah.
you getting into your brother's vet. I don't know if Shawn can show that or not. It's pretty cool with how you have the what like a Hoyer lift out mounted out onto the carport or
Yeah,
something.
so my brother is an architect, and he's very familiar with my setup in my room because I have a ceiling track with a Hoyer lift also, and so
That was weird. We got some kind of other audio coming in for a second. Who
Yeah.
knows?
well, it's actually part of the video. So it was
Oh,
actually
it
my
was.
nephew
Oh, he was
talking.
trying to
Yeah,
play
is he explaining? Because obviously when I transfer, I spasm. But he's like, he's all good. So yes. But I mean, that
Um,
was
So
a great
Dominic,
experience. Yeah.
yeah, a question about using the Hoyer lift, like the RV or that. Have you been on a motorcycle being lifted onto it with a Hoyer?
I have not. So no, the only
Okay,
thing adventures I did was the Corvette. That, and then the RV, and then also just going on my brother's boat. The picture. I think we have a picture of me on my brother's pontoon boat. And so he was so
hmm,
thoughtful when he knew. He asked me if I wanted to go ride on it. I said, well, definitely. So he reached out to the company and explained the situation. So I'm with me in my chair. I'm 600 pounds. Chair and me and so there's a weight limit on
yeah,
certain pontoons, and so they recommended that, because most pontoon boats only have two floats, they recommended a third float, in the middle, and everything like that. And so that worked out really well. It kept us stable and everything like that, kept me stable. I don't feel the bumps as bad or the waves, as bad, And so I mean, I enjoy going out there, San Diego Harbor, go to the Coronado Bridge, Gloria Bay and everything. And then sometimes we go out of Oceanside, which is cool. And so so get this, so I went out a couple times, right? And so then he realized, all right, this is gonna work, and everything like that. So then the next time I go out there, he goes, hey, look what I got. He shows me an inflatable life vest. All right, so he shows me this. I'm like, oh, cool. He goes, you want to put it on? I go, no, I don't want to put it on. He goes, well, there may be a time, that we may have to put it on, or figure out how we're gonna put it on and all that stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what? We have bigger issues if there's a time that we need to put on this life vest, right? Obviously something bad has happened, and that's more of a concern to me than this life vest. But it just made me laugh, that he was so thoughtful, to think of it, and get it and everything. So
Yeah, that's great. And that's really
I have
awesome.
a friend. I was going to say, I have a friend out here. You guys might know Anthony or Ant Vargas. Yeah. He's a high level quad. He so desperately wants to ride on a motorcycle again. And I'm trying to work it out so that we can get like a Triglide Ultra out to him and get him on with a Hoyer lift. Mm-hmm. So we're going to be trying to do that. What's that?
Not a sidecar won't work for him. He actually wants to be on the motorcycle.
A sidecar is the opening on the sidecar is too confined. It'd be too difficult to get him in that opening. But on a Triglide, it's basically open, and the armrests actually open and close. So you can open the armrest, lift the Hoyer past the armrest, and then lower him down onto the seat. Mm-hmm. So we're going to try and make that happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I'm sure that'd be awesome if you made it work for him.
Well, you know what that brings to mind on that is what Frank the Tank used to get in his Jeep. There may be something that company can do, to get on the bike. Oh, here's a picture of you and your brother's Corvette.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was amazing.
That is such a great picture.
Yeah, it was awesome. Oh, trust me. I was probably out there for an hour and a half. Almost 2 hours. And so I mean, we did the back roads of Fallbrook. We're going, tight turns, tight corners. I mean, and so the Corvette was still new at the time. That he was hitting the brakes so hard that you could smell them. And so the very first time, he did the whole arm, across my chest, holding me in, and I'm like, you know what, this chair, I am not going anywhere. I am so snug and so hugged, that I am not going anywhere. So he didn't bother with that anymore.
It's got all
so it was a pretty amazing experience
around it.
Yeah, trust me, yes.
And you can tell there you're without your vent there, right?
Yeah, so that's another fortunate thing, being able to breathe off the machine that I don't need it. I was able to go without, so that 2 hours, I was breathing on my own and everything, but it was, I was pretty fortunate. I mean, obviously we could work it out because going on planes, we put the ventilator between my legs, underneath the seat, and everything, and, for the flights and everything like that. So that makes it work, that way. So, I mean, if I really needed it, then I'm sure we could have worked it out. But it was nice, not to be without and just go for it.
So another question here: when you travel, like on an airplane, you're going like to Florida or whatever. What about the pressure? Your sitting pressure, and just does the pressure affect you? The cabin when they pressurize and things like that. Is there any effects on that with your breathing?
So breathing, no. Sitting, yes, because those chairs aren't comfortable, right? And if I was to put my rojo under me, I'd be more afraid that I would slide, out of the seat. So I just sit actually in the actual seat, and we just try to get me as comfortable as possible. But it's not comfortable. I don't care what they say. So I gotta look into maybe taking first class or something like that.
Yeah, pretty expensive. We got a few more minutes left, and I wanted to go back to something you were saying about Spinal Network. I know you work a lot with them. You work with Triumph a little bit as a peer mentor. Do you want to explain a little bit about your volunteering and your peer mentoring portion in your life?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I figured, being injured for 38 years and surviving this long, maybe the little knowledge and insight that I could give someone or share with them, I'm more than willing to do it. It actually beneficial for me and hopefully beneficial for them, but yeah, I mean, being introduced to Triumph Foundation and Spinal Network and being a part of them, either an ambassador, or executive board member, it's amazing. I mean, I'm glad that I'm able to do it. I mean, obviously, I would love to do it more, but they try to mirror, the patient with the mentor, which is fine. I totally understand it because I had no, concept or no realization of, when maybe Bobby, or with Robert, who you could talk to or someone your level of injury, as opposed to mine, and so, I'm glad that there aren't too many vent people out there that I can talk to. But if I'm more than willing and more than happy to talk to them, I enjoy it. So
Yeah.
I find a plus in my life somehow.
But it probably helps for those who are like C3 and have, not on event
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, wow, I could be on
Right,
event. You
right,
can still show them the tricks and the trade of your power chair, how you use your power chair, which
mm-hmm.
you're using it with your mouse stick or chin. I
Chin.
can't
I use it
remember
with a chin. I use it with
your
my
chin.
chin. So I definitely use my chin. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I tried the sip and puff, back in Rancho days, and again, I wasn't that strong. I wasn't that strong to breathe and everything like that. So yeah, the chin control works for me, and then I feel more comfortable with it. I'm
Yeah.
sure maybe sip and puff might be a little bit better now. I'm so comfortable with my chin control. It's just a better thing for me.
Yeah, like I was telling you about my friend Mark, he's a sip and puff user, and it's just
Okay.
amazing. The way he spins around, backs up into his van. I'm just like, geez,
Right.
he's just perfect at it. So, but yeah, it is amazing that I think all the stuff that you can still be an example of, even if you are on a ventilator or not. I mean, I remember, you know, when I was in rehab, kind of feeling down on myself. And every day I would go by the vent room. There was 4 people on a vent in this one room at Northridge Hospital. And there was one guy there and never hardly got up because he was so high of a level. And he
Okay.
would, every time I saw him, he had a smile on his face. And
It's
I'm like,
nice, right?
okay, I went in there and I just like, hey, brother, every time I see you, man, you have a smile on your face. What gives? I mean, look at your
Mm-hmm.
heart moving
Right.
up and out of this room. And he's like, I got to meet you today, didn't I?
Yeah.
And I'm just
Right.
like,
No, I totally
oh my
agree.
God,
I know.
you know. And from then
Yeah.
on, I was just like, whatever functions I do have, I can't be down on myself. And
Yeah.
Right.
here's this guy not down on himself. And we became the best of friends in rehab. He's like, hey, can you go get me a Starburst? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, because I love those. I would run to the pharmacy, grab some Starburst, come back, and he's like, open it. I'm like, hello, you want me to open up this Starburst? I'm never happy individually until I'll be like,
Right.
all
Right.
right, if you want my slobber all over it, and he goes,
Yeah.
hey, at least I got it. I'm like, all right, man. I'd
Seriously.
be like trying to wipe it off for him, and he
Right.
eat it, and he loved it
Well,
that we both worked together on a Starburst.
Right.
yeah.
Right. No, I mean, I totally agree. Attitude is, the main thing,
Um,
really.
I,
I mean, that
I,
what gets you through. I mean, that's what gets me through. Staying positive.
well, I,
I mean,
I'm all I'm all about that, because it attracts. The positive attitude attracts, just like, all of us here. I'm attracted to everybody because of inspiration and just,
right.
the accomplishment. We all got our stories, and it's just,
True.
it's just that positive. Negativity is a turnoff. It's not going to
Right.
attract anybody. Throw that positive attitude out there, and you got people around you.
Right. I
It's
agree. I mean,
important.
there's been times, that I'll be at Disneyland or wherever I'm at, and, someone will come up and say, hey, say hi to me and all that stuff, and they'll walk away, and they'll come back and they go, you know what? I just love your attitude. You're so positive and
Yeah,
all of this stuff.
I
I'm
tell you,
like,
it's
you know what?
contagious.
Life is
It,
too short,
yeah,
So,
it's
Hmm.
contagious.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we start wrapping up with some last words, Robert, do you want to talk about our sponsors that we have today?
Sure. Our sponsors are mobility professionals and urology professionals. Great group of people, as I said in the beginning. And if you're looking for wheelchairs, rehab equipment, and all that, mobility professionals located here in Southern California, they're the people to go see. Involved in our community, so give them a shout and see if they are contracted with your insurance and maybe even just work something out with you. Also, their parent company, urology professionals. They're nationwide, so they'll take care of you wherever you are in the United States. And I don't know if they do overseas or anything like that. But anyway, they're a
Just
national company.
just in the U.S.
Yeah, okay. So they handle all your urological needs. So they're there, same group of people, all very knowledgeable. So make sure you check them out. Uh, they're involved and with our community. In fact, one of the members of their team, Dean, will be joining us on one of our shows upcoming. So check them out,
Next,
urology
our next,
professionals and mobility professionals.
yeah, actually, our next show.
Oh,
Um,
awesome. Well, check in on
you
that.
definitely,
Yeah.
you definitely brought in the crew today because our numbers were a little bit higher than normal, a lot higher than
Uh,
normal. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
you got the word out
well,
there.
I get a lot
You,
of family and friends that I reached out to, and so I'm very thankful for all of them. In my life, hopefully, and yeah, I mean, it's pretty wonderful, pretty wonderful. I mean, family to me is important. So our
yeah,
friends. It's
Right
it's
on.
all good things. So yeah,
Yep.
Thank
and
you, Dominic.
it
you're
shows
welcome.
with your life that having that strong family, you got pretty far. There you are with Magic Johnson, but it seems
I
like
know, right?
having
Look how younger we are, right? I mean,
look
shoot.
at that
Yeah, that was
outro.
back in
Look
'80.
at all
That
that
was
hair.
'87.
Woo!
So yeah, right. Yeah, where is all that hair? Damn it! Right? But
Yeah,
yeah,
no
back in
kidding.
'87. '87, I went to a Lakers practice. And that was, I mean, that was my make a wish. I'm like, I don't want to go to no damn Disney World or Disneyland. Man, I want to go see Magic. So yeah, they worked it out for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty awesome. It was pretty darn awesome. I
Cool.
was
You
so happy, so
Cool.
that was
fortunate.
did you say it was Make a Wish Foundation?
That was my make
Oh,
a wish. Yeah, they asked me, what do you want to do? I said, I want to go see Magic. I'm like, I want to go meet Magic, So, because I was all into
okay.
sports and everything like that, So I'm
I
like,
got
sports is what I want.
That's awesome because I got to do the same thing, but I chose Hawaii. I'm like, I want to go to Hawaii, man. So I went to Hawaii.
Uh, okay. So, all right. Well, see, I've been to Hawaii. So now I've been to Hawaii. I've been to Walt Disney World, twice. I mean, I do a lot of other things. I've been on cruises, and everything like that. So, shoot. I was fortunate, that it happened. And, I was glad.
Uh-huh. No, that
So,
is awesome,
Cool. Cool.
Dominic.
so
And
before,
like so many people in our chat. Thank you, everyone in our chat. But Maria said it. Your example of life goes on no matter what physical situations that you may have. So that's what you do. You have a strong family, and you get out there, and you listen to your body, and you go enjoy life as best you can.
I try my best, man. I try my best.
Yeah, that's awesome.
so before we get out of here, want to make some mentions about upcoming things.
Yeah,
Live to Roll. We're going to be at the Abilities Expo just a
or
little over a month from now. So we
yeah,
want to invite anybody who's in the area or the region. Please come out to the Abilities Expo at the Los Angeles Convention Center and visit us, mobility professionals, urology professionals, the Triumph Foundation, and a whole bunch of others. This is a awesome event where you'll meet everybody in the community. Most of us are there. And Roy, UFC title fight? We're not having that at Abilities Expo. Not, not this
Oh
time.
Lord. Oh my God.
So we're working on the wheelchair boxing. We'll see what happens with that. Uh,
yeah.
also, Triumph Foundation. We have snow skiing, adaptive snow skiing up at Bear Mountain coming up. Also, we have adaptive shooting coming up. And Roy, have you been to adaptive shooting? We have a tripod with a bite stick.
No, for Dominic. For Dominic.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
Dominic.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, so again, I was like, hey, Yeah, so even Andrew told me, about adaptive shooting and everything like that, but
Yes.
I mean, I wasn't into guns before my accident. I have no interest in shooting a gun now. I mean, to me, and honestly, I mean, all they would do is line up the gun for me because I'm not doing it, right? And then all you gotta do is bite and then it would shoot. So, am I really shooting? Really? I mean, I'm not aiming.
It's
So
two.
so I'm like,
Actually,
come
you
on
are
now,
aiming.
am I
It's two.
really?
It's
Are you
two
sure?
joysticks. So one joystick you aim
Okay.
with, and
Okay.
the other one you fire with.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
So
maybe.
you are
Well,
aiming,
nah, I don't know. All right. All right.
not
And
Well,
I,
that's
really.
I'm not,
that's so that's better to know because I'm like thinking to myself, this isn't going to be any fun. It's almost
It
it's
is.
almost like it's almost like me going bowling. Someone told
This
me I could go
tripod
bowling.
was ten
They
thousand
told me I
dollars.
could go
We got
bowling.
to put it
They,
to use.
they told me I could go bowling, and I'm like, bowling? What the hell am I going to do? Right?
Bump,
Someone's lining
bump.
up they're lining up the ramp for me. They're dropping the ball down for me. I'm like, am I really bowling?
Yeah.
Right?
yeah.
Like, no.
No,
Right?
you bump the
Everybody,
rack with the
So,
chair.
I,
okay.
I
All
think
right.
you
I don't
you
know
got the
about that. I don't know.
you got the
I
right
don't
sport
know.
in mind. You go to
I don't
Disneyland and
know.
have fun and
I
out in
know. Let's
Disneyland, right?
travel. Exactly. Travel.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
my Aunt Gina said, my next trip is to Rhode Island. I'm definitely going to do that, Gina. Love you
Right
so
on.
much. So, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely going to Rhode Island. Got to
There
make
he
it
is,
What's
right
happen.
your,
there.
Jungle
That's
like a,
Land.
Jungle Cruise. Jungle Cruise.
yeah.
That's my favorite
Yep.
ride. That's my
Right
his
on.
favorite ride. So I know I'm sure I told the stories about Small World, my nightmares, and all that stuff. So I I told him. So the last trip I went for the Christmas holidays. All right, I get on, and I tell the little cast member again. I say, hey, you're gonna need to call the fire department. She goes, really? And she goes, yeah. I go, yeah, because you're gonna have problems. She goes, no, I think we're gonna be okay. We'll be fine, right? Well, they couldn't even turn the ramp, the lift to get me down into the boat, right? And so then I'm looking, right, and now I'm sitting, in the boat. Well, the boat's not going anywhere. So then I hear one of the cast members go, "Whoa, what's the water level in this? What's the water level on the ride?" I'm like, "Oh Lord, this can't be good." Right? He's actually asking his other crew members, "What is the water level?" I'm like, "Hold on here." Right? And so then I'm not going anywhere. So one of the other cast members grabs a pole with a hook on it, and he's dragging my boat. Dragging me through the ride just the beginning. Right? I'm like, oh, okay, this I do not want to see this. Right, so now I'm going through the ride. Halfway through, my boat stalls. I'm not going anywhere. Luckily the boat behind me nudges me, and now I'm moving a little bit more and more and more and more. Right. So then I come to the end. Who's waiting for me? But four firemen. So I'm like, oh, thank God that cast member thought better of it, and actually called the fire department. Well, the
That's
fire department, it took them almost 10 minutes to get me off. I wasn't getting off with them either. I'm like, hold on. I'm like, you know what? I'm never going on this ride ever again. It's not worth it, And they're probably thankful too, because
Too
they're probably looking at me
stressful.
next time. Right? They probably see me off in the corner and go, "Oh no, not that guy!" Right? So yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm doing them a favor. I'm not on there. I am
Yeah.
definitely not going there.
You had everybody stressing.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I can only imagine, right? Yeah. So I told my sister-in-law Shauna, I said, you know what? I'm not doing it again. I don't need to. It's not worth it. I don't need to hear that song. And for me to be stuck on that ride would not be the happiest place on earth. It'd be
Yeah, that's right.
awful. It'd be
Well,
miserable.
I haven't been there for a while, but I'm a big Disney fan. I used to go all the time. We used to have passes and
We
stuff like
should.
that. But
Very
the
nice.
thing is I really like Disneyland. I like it just to hang out because it's so festive. I just like the
Right.
atmosphere.
Right.
There's
Right.
Yeah.
rides.
Exactly.
There's some rides I like to go on and stuff like that. But I just like hanging out there.
Right.
It's
I mean,
just
there's time. Yes, I totally agree. I mean, there's times that I don't go on one ride. I
yeah,
just sit on Main Street. I go in shops. I just hang
yeah,
out. I
yeah.
mean, I don't need to go on a ride at all. I mean, I
I'm with
like
you.
that they pay so much attention to detail.
Yeah.
And their whole. I mean, I've gone so often now that there's actually cast members that actually recognize me and say, "Hey, glad you're back. Good to see you," and
Cool.
everything like that. I mean, they pay attention. So that's
Yeah.
what I really enjoy. So, all right, Robert, then we all need to go.
Yeah.
Maybe I
That'd
I
be
tried
fun.
to talk Sean. Trying to talk Sean into doing a live to roll day at Disneyland or something like that.
yeah.
That'd be
There you
great.
go.
I
Yeah.
think we should make it work.
That'd be
I definitely
fun.
think we should make it work. And if anything, maybe we can convince Leah to talk to Shawn, right? Maybe she can convince Shawn to do a lift to roll day, right?
Yeah.
All right, Leah, come on, girl.
Leah's the new
Let's make
go-to
it happen.
person.
Yeah.
I think so. I agree. She makes things happen. So yes. All right. Lift to roll day at Disneyland. Let's do it.
Yep.
That would be
Well,
awesome.
Dominic, you've been a great guest. You're a good friend. I don't see you enough like we used to, but
Yes.
we got to get out and bump into
I
each other a
agree.
little bit more. You're
I agree.
very inspirational, and it makes me happy to know you. And it's exactly what we're all about. Life after paralysis, man. It moves on.
I agree.
So thank
Thank
you
you
very
so
much,
much.
Dominic.
I appreciate it. Yes. No, thank you for
And
having me. I enjoyed it.
I'll see you on Monday, Dominic. We'll do
Oh.
lunch.
All right.
Yeah.
And
Sounds like
I
a
hopefully
should
plan,
be
man.
on
the
there Monday
Expo.
as well. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Look forward to it.
Awesome. Cool.
All right. Love you
All right,
guys.
any last words before we
Take
sign
care,
off?
Dominic.